From a Jungian lens, fear of femininity is often fear of the unconscious. Right? And femininity started being repressed 2,500 years ago. Right? And then we had the patriarchy. But why was that repressed? I'm going to get into that in another video. But the deeper you go into your fear, guilt, and shame, the higher you soar into your next, enlightenment experience. So what I saw is that the reason we had the patriarchy is we had to repress femininity and really kind of push ourselves into tons of fear, guilt, and shame on how we're treating ourselves so that we could expand our consciousness all the way up to enlightenment for the collective. That's why, from an energy perspective, that's what I see. And I'll do another video on that. But that's why patriarchal cultures try to control the feminine, right? Like Christianity, you go to Jesus, forgiveness, a masculine soul for a feminine quality in the right brain, right? You go to a hierarchical, a church run by men to learn compassion and self-reflection. I mean, I see Christianity as institutionalized femininity. That's why it doesn't work. That's why they don't know how to teach love thy enemy, because they don't understand that they're creating their own enemies. They're an enemy to themselves when they don't acknowledge women's true role and what's a healthy dynamic between a man and a woman. I know we're still figuring it out, right? They moralize it, flatten it into roles, because raw femininity doesn't obey rules. Healthy femininity reorganizes reality around itself. Like, I attracted all these men into my life to, they were universes and mirrors. It's how I learned this in my book. But that was, and I didn't go on a date with any of them. They included Justin Waller and Andrew Tate. But by me not letting them get that close to me, I'm in my vortex is reorganizing reality around me. That's how powerful women are. So why would I want to go be a man? I don't know. Femininity as a vortex is not about passivity. It's about centrality, the emotional center, the spiritual center. Masculinity moves outward. Femininity draws inward, just like the Cherokee proverb. And there's tons of research showing that Native indigenous cultures, where they do this dynamic, femininity outward, masculinity outward, have far healthier relationships with their children than in Western culture, where we've taught men the spiritual center, that's inward. But in Christianity, God's above and outward, external locus of control. You do any research into psychology, when you have an external locus of control, that sets up the victim mindset, codependent relationships, like children who are abused and don't heal. My parents were still an external locus of control, which for an infant, like an infant up to age 7, the mother helps the child regulate their nervous system, because the women's nervous system is far more robust than the man's nervous system. That's one reason women were designed to be home with the kids. But when we don't accept this, we don't teach the kids to kind of become independent of the mother's nervous system by age. We don't teach this, and we're shoving in tons of fear, guilt, and shame. The child gets attached in a healthy way and doesn't know how to let go. So subconsciously, they're still in that parent-child relationship, not acting like a grown-ass human being who can make grown-ass decisions, because they're not. They're not emotionally mature. The parents didn't set them up for this. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's the end of that. All right. Well, that is the end of today's discussion. I hope it was interesting. I hope it gave you, some things to think about. This is just how I do it. I think about new ideas, I explore them, and then I just keep exploring and exploring and exploring and see what comes up.